22,000.
Yeah.
Your ass.
Special time at 9 o'clock
Oh,
to go look for an apartment.
okay.
So,
To go look for an apartment. Yeah,
because
that's
I'm leaving that apartment where I'm at. Give me an apartment somewhere.
when are
That's
you?
what I'm sitting, sir.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I apologize. Is this one from my mind? When are you getting out?
45 days. I have 30 days. Another 2 weeks or so. Yeah, but I'm going to leave. If my Saturday 30 days for me to get here, I actually have 45 days. I took week or so they can act so I haven't smoked a cigarette. I haven't smoked a cigarette. So I'm using that as one of my cigarettes. I can actually smoke a cigarette. I can smoke.
Oh, he's on the dude now? You're on the dude?
No, it's not.
I thought maybe you needed something stronger because you go out and see what's got all that.
I drank this last Dr. Pepper last night.
I don't know, where's that Dr. Pepper fan? The last one. That is not that. No. Because I tell you, once you're on Dr. Pepper, that's it. You don't feel bad. When it's number one, it's number one.
Out of 4 cases, the sodas, this is my last drink. But we traded and sold a lot.
You didn't bring Pablo to class?
Not today.
Gotta get the dog back before Friday. Darn in my oh, 12 pack? 7, 6 something, 7 something. 7. Okay. Well, that was all. That was all.
He had to wait for the law.
I don't like blue ink, sir.
All right, we're about to get started. We got about 30 seconds left. Look, I'm going to call names out here. And if you let me know if you're here. And some of these folks have already gone and all of that. Mr. Robert Gold out here. Christopher Miles. That's him that just walked. Bill.
Sir.
Mr. Frenzel. Nicholas Trey, hand. Mark Cleveland. Clifton Brooks. Thank you, sir. Michael Houston. Okay. Kendrick Jackson. He's not in group. Sorry, I missed one. But
Oh.
okay. You're not on this. This is an old list. I'm just getting to the place where I'm trying to get to where I know everyone's name and all of that. So I do appreciate that. I'm going to do the same thing over at North one of these days. When I get back over there, hopefully we're doing what we're supposed to do at North. In here, I saw that our RA there got our stuff going around. And I appreciate that. You have your sign-in sheets. So you need to sign in your name, make sure that it's legible so that I can read it. And everybody brought their book, right? Everybody has their book with them. We're going to go to what page? Going to page 21. All right. So today is a non-sleeping day. Okay, sleeping group. Today is a non-eating our lunch day, so we can't eat lunch in group. All of those kinds of things because we're getting serious about our group. We're going to be talking about a couple of things today. I'll try to get 2 topics every day so that if one goes a little bit quicker than we anticipate, that we can have another that's going to be there with us. So we're going to have 2 of them. One is goal setting. You know, every one of us in here have goals. We're going to be looking at those goals, and we're going to be talking a little bit about goals, how they should work. And then we're going to be talking a little bit about self-care this morning. And if you'll notice, you have been handed out a self-care deal there. And I do apologize, but I seem to have lost my self-care packet. But we're going to find it. It's going to be magnificent. So, well, maybe we won't find it. Maybe we don't need it. I don't know. Well, that's it. That's just perfect. That's all right. But if you'll notice, you have this little self-care thing, and at the somewhere down through the group, maybe at the next part of the group or something, we're going to go over this, and you can fill that out and decide what you're using as your self-protective thing. And I'm going to wait until the second half of group because I have laid that down somewhere, and somebody ate it. Probably Miss Kim. She's here back for the first day. She just wants everybody to know she's here, so she stole my stuff. You know, I see how that works. However, we are going to have a break here after a while, and during that break, we can go to the bathroom, we can get whatever we need, a cup of coffee, stuff like that. And while we're at break, I will reprint that protective factor thing out so that we can go over that during the second part of the group today. All right, that sound all right? Okay. Unless it just kind of pops up. If it shows up, that's a good thing. So on page 21 of our workbook, it tells us a couple of things. And we're on Wednesday, and we're down here on the family thing. And we've been talking about the family a little bit, and this self-care thing and the goals thing, how does that hook into the family?
Your goals would benefit the whole family.
Yeah, your goals could be pointed at the whole. One of my goals is to have a good relationship with everybody in my family. Beginning this weekend, my wife and I are going to go to different. We have a bunch of kids and grandkids. We're going to be going to each family and just having some time with them. Now we're going to set up. Look, we're not just dropping by. We're setting up an appointment. We're going to be there. We're going to sit on your front porch. We're going to my daughter's house first that lives around here. And so we're going to go to her house, and I'm going to call her up and say, look, we need to have coffee, maybe a little sugar-free cake, something. I have 2 granddaughters who live there as well, and they're just kids, but they're baking people. They like to bake. So, okay, bake for your grandpa, right? And that's going to be magnificent. So, what's our goal for the group today?
To learn about goals and self-care.
To learn about goals and self-care. To know, look, all of us in here know a few things about goals, right? Everybody you're all brilliant people. There's no dummy in this whole group. And everybody in both groups knows a little something about self-care. Well, we already know a bunch of that stuff. 90% of the stuff that I put out over here, we know about it. We already got it down. But what we're doing is reminding ourselves what we need to do. Sometimes that slips our mind. Sometimes we get so personally involved in who we are, right? And sometimes somebody can say a little something, and hurt my feelings. Somebody told me yesterday, I don't know who that was, it was a guy sitting over here. But, he's not over there anymore, so I don't know who it was. He said, you just get in your personal feelings. And that's true, isn't it? We can get in our personal feelings, but what should we do about that? Or it's quiet off in here. If you say something that gets me in my personal feelings, what should I do about it?
Speak your mind.
Speak your mind. Say something about it. Knock them upside the head. Yeah. No. What I think, the first thing was talking to a young man here earlier, and we're talking about being Christians and having the Holy Spirit living inside of us. What did and I'm not trying to make anybody a Christian or anything this morning. I just want to share a little something with you. What happens when you do become a Christian? Get the Holy Spirit living inside you? And if the Holy Spirit's living inside you, what does that mean?
You're the person.
You have the fruit of the Spirit. And if you have the fruit of the Spirit, and I ask him all the time, I tell you the fruit of the Spirit is magnificent. But there's one fruit of the Spirit that I don't see operational in my life very well. Fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, gentleness, long-suffering, which means patience, and self-control. And that's the one I don't have very well. Because I can go and I want to, when you say something to me, I want to say something back. I don't have self-control. And if I walk by a piece of cake, and I see that piece, what I want to do with that piece, I want to eat that piece of cake. Right? So that self-control is not where I want it to be yet. Does that mean I'm not Christian? No, God's still working with me. We talked this morning about, Bible says I have to renew my mind daily. So every day I have to do something to make sure that I do have that fruit of the Spirit operational in my life. It's a good thing. And one of the hardest things is self-control. Self-control. If somebody says something to me and we get in a fight, what does that say? I don't have any self-control, or I don't have proper self-control, neither does the other guy. So if I don't have self-control, I need to be working on getting self-control. Mr. Bell, I know it's been we've been in group 10 minutes. I know you got something to say. Go ahead.
I'm just piggybacking what you said.
Okay.
It's like 1 Corinthians 13.
Okay.
It speaks on what not to do.
Right.
Be not selfish, seek not your own, be not jealous. But at the end of the passage you said, when I was a child, I walked as a child, spoke as a child, when I became a
And that's impressive that you know Scripture that well and all of that kind of stuff.
No,
But what does that?
Well,
That impresses me. But what does that say? What is in my impression, what that says is that if you're not doing those things, you got an issue and you need to do that. So if somebody comes up and says something to you that you don't like, then okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. If you know what you're supposed to do, do it.
Don't be grown up. Don't just
be a grown up. Do it. So here's the deal. I'm not putting you off. We'll let you talk for over money. 20 days, we'll let you get experience. Okay. Yeah. So on Wednesday, this is pretty apropos because on Wednesday we're looking at the one that says we're kind of with our family, kind of on the middle ground. Y'all excuse me, and at North, y'all excuse me. I just don't like the way this looks, so I'm gonna push this back just a little bit, and I think that's more gooder. So it says, look, with my family, I'm at a place of middle ground. Your relationships are founded on solid connections, but you've struggled due to your current situation. You know, look, if I'm having issues with drugs and alcohol and all of that kind of stuff to the point where I'm in recovery, not in recovery yet, but in treatment and all of that kind of stuff, can that affect my family? How's that? What's the biggest thing that affects my family?
If you're in your addiction or
Well, you're not there.
absence.
You're absent.
Yeah.
You're not there.
You're there, but you're not there.
Yeah, well, while you're here, you're not there. You know. And, you know, I worked out of prison for a long, long time. And those guys out there were keenly aware of the fact that while they were there, somebody else taking care of their kids. Somebody else probably taking care of their wife. Yeah.
Stress.
Yeah, when I was in the Army, we used to march and we'd say, ain't no use in looking down. Ain't no discharge on the ground. Ain't no sense in going home. Jody got your girl and gone. Yeah, you know. So, hey, that's the way that is. People get lonely. You know. So I'm not saying that here for us because you guys are only here for like 30 days, 45 days. That's not an inordinate amount of time, but you are right now missing from the picture, right? And that speaks to our addiction because in our addiction, even when we're not in a place like this, we are missing from the addiction. I mean, we're missing from the picture, right?
Dr. Warner, I need Mr. Bell.
You need Mr. Bell.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, Mr. Bell's the only one who does all kind of talking and stuff, you know. I mean, the only one causing trouble, and you can have it, Bell.
Okay. You're right.
So,
Is that how y'all know me?
good luck, Mr. Bell.
Sorry about that.
Good luck, Mr. Bell.
Check it out.
Look, for the most part, those around you who are supportive and you feel they have a desire, a sincere desire to see you improve. You know, there's some people out there that really want us to improve, right? Like I've been in my recovery forever in 3 days. And there's still people in my family that don't talk to me. I did some bad stuff. You guys are all sweet, nice, kind, good, and all that kind of stuff. But look, I got that small man complex, and when I got a few little drinks in me, I was 6'3". All Schwarzenegger was scared of me. You know, all of that kind of stuff. Men feared me. Women desired me. It was just a bad, bad place for me to be. But I was there more than and some people in my family want to have nothing to do with me still yet today. Is that okay? It's okay. It's okay on one level. It's not okay on another level. I have sisters. I have 5 sisters. One of them is suffering right now from procreation. The other 4, there's 2. I have 2 that are twins, and then 2 other sisters. And I haven't seen those people 30 years. Those girls don't want to have anything to do with me. Well, so okay. So some of the people are still supportive of me. Some of the people that I had in my family way back in the day are not supportive of me, and that's okay. So one of my goals is to have my family back in a place where they want to support me. They want to be with me. You know, they want to allow me to come and to the family things and all of that kind of stuff. Yes.
How's that one person trying?
Yeah. Yes, I have tried to make amends and stuff like that. I will tell you that that's what we are supposed to do, right? We are supposed to make amends. If they don't receive that, that's okay too. We have to go on with our life. We cannot spend the rest of our lives messed up, tore up, and all of that stuff because some family member somewhere, no matter how close they used to be, will not accept an amends from us. One of these days, if y'all stay in recovery a long time, I'll tell you some of the stuff I did. But, you know, and then you'll understand a few things. But yes.
Yeah, you just said, said it.
Yeah.
It's love. I'm trying to make this one kind of serious. It's like I was told I had some Thank you. You did your part. They accepted your
Well,
They decided it's free.
yes,
Yes.
right. So you make your amends. It's up to them to accept it or not. Either way it goes. It's always better if they accept it, everything gets okay. I've had a lot of people, tears, and, snot, all of that kind of stuff, and everything's wonderful, and it's still good. One of the things that I've noticed that some of those people keep watching me. How you doing? How's everything? Yeah, yeah, yes, I'm still sober. That's what you're trying to ask me, right? Yes, I'm still sober. I don't know. That's not what I mean. I'm just asking if you are all right. Huh? Let me see your eyes. Huh? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm not on anything. I'm okay. So that's a big goal, isn't it? So what's the first thing? We're going to do goals now because I have, not that we'll do that later, but what's the first thing about a goal? If I'm going to set up a goal, what's the first thing about my goal? Yes, sir.
Attainable.
An attainable goal? Yeah, I want to have a goal that I can reach, right? I want to have a goal that's attainable. One of my goals is to have, what's that old boy's name? What's the guy's name that I'm thinking about? The guy that just sent his spaceship up? Elon Musk. One of my goals is to have Elon come over to my house and say, man, I need to borrow some money from here. That may not be attainable. It might not work that way. Of course, when I was driving up here, I went by the big old sign, the billboard that said the lottery is at $815 million. Probably not a good chance of me winning that. Well, then that's the thing. I don't buy the ticket. My supply comes from somewhere else. I'm not looking to win the lottery. Look, here's the deal too. If I won $815 million, you're probably getting about $500 million of it. The government gonna get dead. But if you had $500 million, I just, God knows what that would do to me. Have all that money. God knows what that would do to me. I'm an addict. There ain't no telling what I would do. So, and I was talking to somebody, this is a minister in our church, and we were talking, and he said, well, I know what I'd do. If I wanted, I'd help a lot of people. Have you ever looked at some of those people who won the lottery? Most of them are broke now. A lot of them, their lives are completely destroyed now. So what he is saying is not only would the lottery destroy my life, I would help it destroy a whole bunch of other people. So, money's just money. It's a tool. It's not something that, people like Elon Musk and all those folks who have money know how to deal with it. I don't have money. I don't know how to deal with it. I would buy Miss Caitlin and have her just cook for me or something. How you gonna buy people? Let me tell you, you can buy people. I see them every day. They come up and say, "Hey, I want to go to work for you. How much you gonna pay for me?" Right? All of that kind of stuff. So I don't know what I'd do. But I don't want to give it a shot. So here's the big thing about goals. If I have a goal in my life, one of the things, like you said, I want to make sure it's attainable, but I also want to stretch myself. Right? When I'm dreaming, that's what a goal is. What can I dream about? What can I dream about in my life? Anything. Anything. Here's the deal. I need to be at a place where I understand that anything goes when I'm dreaming. Right? Anything. So what should I do? If I'm setting all of that stuff up, I'm going to dream big. Right? So how many of us want to be in solid recovery? I want to be in solid recovery. If you didn't raise your hand, you're in the wrong house. Thank you. We want to be in solid recovery. Look, that's a big dream. That's a big goal. But is that the only goal? No. No, look, just being in recovery, that's just not all there is to it, right? When I get into recovery and I'm in a good, solid recovery and I've built up some time and all of this stuff, I also want a nice house, right? I want a nice car. I want to be able to, the boss here drives a Cadillac. No, I don't have one, but the boss, I got a 16-year-old Mercury Sable. Y'all seen my little red car out there?
That's a nice car, though.
It is a nice car. I bought that thing a couple of years ago. The old guy that had it just didn't drive it anywhere. It had 43,000 miles on it. I said, okay. And now it's got about 90,000 on it because I drive my car. Yeah. But the deal is, he's got a nice car. But I would like to have that. The other day I went over to I was going to go by and walk by some of the Cadillacs, but I got scared, so I just drove by the Cadillac dealership, and I got a little nervous just doing that, because I can't afford something like that. So here's the deal: that doesn't mean that can't be my goal, right? Can you drive a Cadillac?
Yeah.
Everybody in here can drive a Cadillac. Yeah, everybody in here can. We can do that if we do what we need to do to get it to that place. My goal is to have more education. I'm looking at going back to school, looking at another master's degree. That's a goal. I may do that. I may not do that. But I'm looking at this little college that reached out to me, and I'm going, why would I want to do something like that? I already got a doctorate degree. Why would I want to go get another master's degree?
You can afford a Cadillac. Right. Two Cadillacs.
He's living under a strange delusion. He's living under a strange delusion. What does a medical doctor make every year? What do you think a medical doctor makes?
$400,000.
400,000. Anybody else got another idea?
Just a regular GP?
It's just a GP, yeah, regular GP. What do you think a GP makes?
250,000.
250,000.
It went from 150 to 180,000.
I went from 150,000, $129,214.08. Yeah. The average doctor at a clinic and small little hospitals like the Winnie Clinic and stuff like that, they make somewhere between $80,000 and $90,000.
That's Cadillac.
That's okay. My son's a truck driver, and he makes more money than the doctors do.
Yep.
Yeah. So just because I have a doctorate degree doesn't mean. I told y'all the other day I don't have a lot of money. Just barely over $3 million in the bank. Just barely, just barely over it. And then I had to tell you that if you're not careful, I'll lie to you. I will. I do that. But we need to dream big. Is it okay to dream to have $1 million in the bank?
Yeah.
How you gonna do that?
Sleep.
How you gonna do it?
Sleep.
He's gonna get his going. That's not quite the same type of dream we're talking about. I'm talking about having that big goal. If I have a goal of having $1 million in the bank, what have I got to do?
Sleep.
He's gonna sleep. That's the only way he can do it. But look, if we get out there, get a job, start putting money in the bank, that's going to build up, right? I had a friend. I had to say that again.
$14 an hour.
$14 an hour is according to how you build it up. I had a friend that was working as a yard manager, and he was putting whatever he could in the bank and all of that kind of stuff. And he came and told me, he said, I'm going to retire, Doc. I said, well, we hate to lose you. He said, yeah, but I'm going to retire. I said, okay. He said, I'm waiting on making another $10,000. I said, well, that's a small goal. That's not a huge goal. He said, yeah, but when I put that in the bank with the rest of my money, I'll have $750,000. So, okay, that's $750,000. That's more money than I got, right? And that's pretty good.
I was just gonna say, it ought to pertain to $1 million. Make short term and long term Long-term
Yeah.
goals gotta be,
Right.
short-term goal would be like, you know, just basic for a month, you could base it on a yearly basis to save 20,000 a year.
Yeah. And what he said was, you
5 years, that's
the
$100,000.
the $1 million is your long-term goal, but you got to have short-term goals to get to that. First thing you got to do is get a job, right? Get a job. Some of us have gone so long periods of time without such an aminal as a job, right? Right. And here's the deal: what I got to open a bank account. I got to get a budget. I got to determine that I'm going to pay my bills. I'm going to eat. I'm going to put money in the bank. That's not an afterthought. That's just something that I'm doing. I'm going to put that money in the bank toward that goal. My wife and I we got several little bank things. You know, we've got a vacation account. In that vacation account, what's in there? Money. Not a lot of money, but vacation money. You know, we're going to go on vacation and we do, you know, we've got a little trailer that we pull behind us and all that stuff so she can cater to her dog. But we do stuff like cook a turkey, bake a turkey, cut that thing up, debone that turkey, put it in bags and put it in your cooler. And when you're hungry, turkey. I love turkey. We can pull turkey out and it's cheap and it's easy and all of that kind of stuff. But we don't have to spend all that time. We stopped at a fast food restaurant the other day. I stopped when I had to go to the doctor, so I stopped thinking. And I stopped going out. I was going to get one of those little baby hamburgers. I got a baby hamburger and an order of onion rings and a shake. Guess what that cost?
$15.
15.
$14. It's a little over $14. My wife said, "What did you get?" Because it's lined up, so if I spend any money on my card, it's all she knows about it, right? So, what did you get? A steak? No, I got a little bitty baby hamburger. Yeah, you know. And so, all of that stuff is high. But if we're eating what we order, our own food, we don't have to do that. Yes.
I just wonder, okay, stuff you talking about going on vacation. I try to get people to realize this. Not sure small business personal finance. Just like you want to go on vacation. You can go anywhere you want to go, but you plan it out.
Yeah.
Say if you want to go to Australia.
Yeah.
Okay. Say in 2028, you and your wife want to take a trip to Australia. So what you do, you're going to say it's a short-term goal. It's aside each month.
Sure.
For this date, time ready to go on a cruise. A lot of people tell me, let's go on a cruise. Do you want to jump up and go? Bills still go on. So if you know you want to go on a cruise, you got to be able to pay for that cruise.
Right.
Okay, you start putting money aside that you can spend on that cruise. Now when you come back, the bills still got to be paid.
Right. So what Mr. Roberts said was that you put a little bit of back whenever you can go anywhere in the world you want to go, as long as you put a little bit of back all of this time. Here's one of the things that I found that's really it was a surprise to me, but it's a real interesting surprise is when you get a plane ticket now, if you go on their site and you want to get a plane ticket going to Scotland or England or something like that, they will let you pay that out over time. Now, I never knew that before. I did like you said, saved it up in the bank and then went and bought the ticket. But now they just let you pay it out over time. That's a really good thing. So we need to be thinking big. I have a retirement fund in my bank where, should be really, really big, but it's not. The church that I pastor is rather small, and they put something in the bank for me on a monthly basis for my retirement. Guess what they put in there? $50. That's not a lot of money. That's $300 a year, right? But that's in there. And if I don't know how long I'll stay there, when I retire from there, I'm going to have whatever that is. It's a little something. Yes, sir.
But isn't it drawing a little interest?
Yeah, it's drawing a little bit of interest and stuff like that. So here's what we do. Yeah. The first thing we're going to do is learn how to dream big. We're going to dream big. So what's the idea of dreaming big? What do you think is a big goal for you? What would that be?
For me,
Yeah,
start my own business.
on your own business. Okay. What do you think?
Own cash.
Own that Cadillac. Now watch, see if where he leaves his keys. What's the big travel the whole world? It's a big goal, and it's cold in Antarctica. You know, this time of year, it's cold, you know, so what's a big goal for you, sir? Yeah, what's a big goal? Go to the Super Bowl. And see, that's a big goal, isn't it? Because he's not even playing for a team right now. How about you? A big goal.
Big goal. Have an RV or a camper to travel.
Have an RV or a camper. Have you ever done that?
I have not.
I will tell you, it's unique. It's fun to a certain extent, but it's according to what you do. My wife and I go to state parks. They're beautiful. They're safe. They're not expensive. $20, some of them are $14 a night. Stuff like that. And so it's pretty easy to get in there, pretty cheap and all of that stuff. But you don't want to go to the little store that's in there. Because they got a little store in there, and you get a little ice cream sandwich, which is kind of small. And it's like $8. Yeah. But it's out in the middle of the woods, and if you want something, that's only something that's there. So give me big goals.
Stay good.
To stay clean. I'm so glad he brought that out, because all the rest of us are looking at other areas.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, you were going to say that, yeah. But all the rest of us are looking at other areas, but that is a huge goal, isn't it? It's been sometimes really hard. And this morning I got up and prayed about it and all that kind of stuff, and I have decided to get into recovery from sugar. I was talking to the Lord this morning. I said, I've done this so well with alcohol. Now, it didn't head off that way. It was hard for me to get going. But once I got it going, I've been able to do it one day at a time all these years. So I need to be able to do it one day at a time with sugar. And so I've started that today. So, I'm in early recovery on that. And that's going to be, every time you walk around here, somebody eats something sweet. And people eat stuff, okay. But that's going to work. So what about you, sir? What's a big goal for you? On the end. Sleeping in the groove.
Yes.
You with us? Big goal for you. What's a big goal? Big goal. Come on. You. Yes, sir.
I want this.
You don't want to participate. Okay.
Mandatory.
It is pretty mandatory if you're in the group. That's what, if you read your book, it says it's mandatory to participate in the group. Yes, sir. So just give us a big goal. It ain't hard. We're not asking you for anything deep. There's got to be something in your life you want to do.
Trying to make it until Thursday.
Try to make it until Thursday. That's a goal, right? Man, today's Wednesday. If you hold your breath, your life will make it. That's a goal.
One day at a time.
How about you? That is, look, we're making fun and all of that kind of stuff, but is that a good goal?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got that same goal. I want to make it till Thursday, and if I just make it through today, not using any sugar, that's going to be an accomplishment. Because look, this afternoon, after I've had my little lunch and all of that kind of stuff, I'm going to start telling myself, I need a little sweet. Look, I deserve this. I'm only going to eat one of them stinking cookies. But I'm going to go buy a pack of cookies. And I'm going to eat that. I ain't eating one of them. I'll eat one. But y'all remember that commercial that said nobody can eat just one? Hey, that's true for me. Yeah, I can't do that. If I eat one cookie, the rest of them cookies get scared. Because I'm going to eat them. And I only want one. But I only want one every time I eat that one. I want one more. Yesterday I went by the dollar store over there and I bought me some one of those little things of ice cream, and it was $1.25. That's some cheap ice cream. It is also some garbage ice cream.
Yeah.
It ain't no good at all. And then I got me a bag of cookies to go with it because it's no good. The ice cream's not good. So the cookies are gonna make the ice cream good because they were maple flavored cookies. So I ate about 100 of those maple flavored cookies and that thing of ice cream. My sugar went up to the place where my meter here could not read it. It went up past all the numbers and just said hi for an hour. So that's one. I threw the rest. I had about 6 of those cookies left. I chunked those things this morning. But okay, I'm in recovery. You tell nobody. You don't have to tell everything you know, ma'am.
I won't tell. I won't. I'm not gonna tell her.
So that's a good goal. I'm gonna, if I can just make today, tomorrow will be easier. What's a big goal? Oh, I'm sorry, you had something.
No,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Mr. Kendrick, I was thinking about it. To get to all our goals, we just have to
Yeah. Look, that's a big goal, and I have that same goal. Yes, sir. Big goal.
Not that crazy. I like building cars, so I like to build a truck, travel the country.
Yeah.
Cross country.
Right.
Travel the country.
Nothing crazy about that. That's my goal. I'm gonna travel the whole country.
Gas and high.
Big goal.
Well, I have 2 ways to go. First goal where once I'm deceased, so my demise, try to leave only have one son. I want to leave 26 to 75,000.
Oh yeah.
It would be
I want to be able. Yeah, that's a good goal. Wants to
It would be
leave.
stipulation.
Say it again.
I said it will be stipulation.
Oh yeah. He wants to leave his son some money. He's gonna put some stipulations on that. That's a good thing. I'm leaving. I want to leave my son a house, and of course too, there's going to be stipulations on that. So we're going to have to dream. Look, we're going to dream big. Okay, we need to dream big, and we need to understand what that dreaming big is, right? So all of those things are dreaming big. That's what we need to be doing. So one of the things we need, look, as we're dreaming big, this is something we need to take a look at. What do you believe will never happen? What do you believe in your believer is never, about your goal, is never going to happen? What do you think might not ever happen? As it pertains to your goal.
I think I might not ever get my car out, so.
I've been there, man. Yeah, they come got it one time. I had a 1968 Dodge Charger. Oh man, it was metal flake green. Had the gas cap up on top of the oh, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Yeah, they come got that for some silly no count no reason. I didn't have no money, and so you want their car back. And so they came got their car back. Yeah. But I'm like you. Yours is in somewhere, and okay. That may not. Do you think that might not ever happen? Maybe it doesn't happen. But is there a good reason?
Yeah, somebody stole my car. The police couldn't get in contact with it. They towed it.
All kinds of crazy good reasons. Here's the deal. What happens though if I can't get my car back? Might have to get another. I was looking at that the other day, and usually I buy my wife a new vehicle. And y'all know, she just got a new truck. I got a 16-year-old Sable, okay? When it comes around for her to have a new truck, or if she likes trucks, she'll get a new truck. When it comes around for me, when my car dies, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to find something, some old something. I prefer old cars, all of that kind of stuff. But also, I'm going to buy something that's a little bit more, cheap, stuff like that, because I'm kind of cheap. Well, I'm cheap when it comes to me, but I'm not cheap when it comes to her.
Yeah.
Because I want her to be able to get, if she goes somewhere, I want her to be able to get in the car
And go and come
just
back.
go.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. I saw a person the other day on the side of the road, the hood up and stuff like that. That's not going to happen in my life. You know, when usually it takes 7 years to pay that truck off, she at on the 8th year, she'll probably have another. So here's the deal. A lot of times we look at this stuff and say, well, that's never going to happen. My goal, my dream will never happen. What do you feel unworthy of?
Love.
Love, you feel unworthy of that? Is that true? Are we unworthy of love?
Some people
No. Now, some people, look, we're going to have a hard time finding a relationship, but we are all worthy of love. God loves you no matter what you do. God loves you no matter what you do. God loves you no matter if you have body odor or not. God loves you even if you don't pay attention in group. I don't love you if you don't pay attention, but God does, right? So you are worthy of. Sometimes we don't feel like that we're worthy of having that house. We're not worthy of having a new car. We're not worthy of having a good job. We're not worthy of this or that or whatever it is. But look, here's the deal. If you're willing to go and work for the stuff, we're worthy of whatever it is that you can dream. Right? Unless, of course, you're dreaming of being a serial killer. We're worthy of that. We don't want to be doing that. So, we need to get beyond. We need to get beyond. What is it out there that you, what is it that, according to your dream, according to your goal, what do you really not care about? Think about that. My goal is not to have $1 million. My goal, that's one of my major goals, is not to get high. I have this huge goal about never using any more sugar. Not just today, but for the rest of my life, I'm not going to use any other sugar. My goal is also to cut down on how much coffee I use. My goal is also to cut down on how many carbohydrates I use. Right? All of those things, that's because that's what's bad for me. Right? Those are the things. What I really don't care about is whether or not I have $1 million in the bank. I don't care about that.
No.
I'm okay. No, because, that's not my supply. God is my supply. I've seen him do so much stuff in my life. We were at one point, we were in pretty bad shape. I had been working for this gentleman, and he stopped paying us. He was doing something else with his money. He couldn't pay it. So my wife worked for him, and I worked for him, so she quit right away. First paycheck missed, she was gone. I stayed another month. So by that time, we didn't have any food left in the house. And I prayed about it, and I asked the Lord to give me 1 week's worth of food. I said, we're going to get paid here in about a couple of weeks, so if you give me 1 week's worth of food. That day, the lady at the place, this was at Center Corps, they have the 2-year program when I was there, and they had all this food in there. And she came over and said, hey, anybody in here want some food? We have to clean out our freezer. I'm thinking a whole freezer worth of food, that's probably going to take us over that week. That'd be great. So I said, yes, ma'am, I'll take that freezer worth of food. She said, okay, so meet us over there. When you get off, just meet us over there at the main entrance. So I went over there and meet him at the main entrance. And she said, well, come on, we'll show you. And she walked me into the cooler, and the cooler was bigger than this room. And it was filled full of food. She said, you got to get all of this out of here. We bought another freezer. We filled up 3 freezers in our icebox with food. We gave away food to other people, and to church people came and toted out food for days. We had food. We still have food. We have these big old things of gourmet soups that are still, you pop those things open and you make this huge pot of soup, and it is fabulous. It is wonderful. So God gave us 5 years worth of food. I'm asking for 5 days. He gave us 5. So he's my supply. $1 million is not my supply. If God gives me $1 million, I'll put it in the bank. Yeah, and praise his name for it. So I don't worry about that. money's not a big deal for me. However, yesterday I was somewhere. Oh, I was at my new office over at the other place, and I found a quarter and a penny in the drawer. Yeah, and the lady that was there, she's not there anymore. So what did I do with that quarter and that penny? I took it like a dog. I took it, and it is now in my car, part of my collection of pennies and nickels and stuff that I find on the ground. I'm not worried about money, but when God gives me a penny, I get it. And take it as a gift and, and as a blessing. Yes.
I just want to ask you this. You know Trump trying to throw away.
Oh, yeah, they're gone.
Okay, you know why?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Well, because a penny costs 4 cents to make.
14 cents.
No, it ain't 14.
When they came out, they said it costs 14 cents to make everything.
Well, and it may, I don't know. It's just that the report that I heard said it cost 4 cents, and I might have misheard it or something. But the point is, it costs more to make it than it's worth. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. So we have to look, if we're going to have a big dream, what do we have to do about that dream? We have to look at that dream, realize that dream, know that that's my goal, that's my dream. What do I need to do to get to that place? Work. Work is a good way to make money. Work is a good way to get self-esteem up. Work is a good way. We ought to all be working and doing the best that we can in whatever we do. But what else is there? That's me shaking. She got a little something red in her hair.
It's the garlic.
That's it.
She my friend. One of the things that, look, we have to categorize things. We need to take a look. What does my dream, what does my goal, what does it encapsulate? What's parts of that? What's all part of my goal? One of the big things is financing. If I want to go get another degree, what have I got to do? Got to look at the finances on that thing. Have to convince my wife that it's worth spending the money to go back to school. And if I go back to school, it'll be an online thing. And so I'll be doing that at night when I get home, and she doesn't like the fact that I only have a couple of hours with her. I go to bed at 8 o'clock, so I only have a couple of hours with her at night. She's not going to enjoy me using that couple of hours, to go back to school. Yeah.
Well, she got the dog.
Yeah, she's got the dog. She can do it.
Take care of the dog.
We got to look at, here's one of the things that a lot of the times we don't look at, but we need to be looking at the spiritual implications of what we're going to do. We need to have, we've talked about this all the time, we need to have some spirituality in our recovery. So is my goal going to take me away from the spirituality that I have built in my life? If it is, I need to make some adjustments. I need to change some things. I need to change some ideas. I need to make sure that whatever my goal is, it's not going to rob me of my spiritual pursuits. I need to still be able to go to church. I need to still be able to go meditate. I need to still be able to go and do some yoga or something. Also, I need to make sure that my health is at a place that's going to allow me to do that. When I tell people I may be going back to school, how long does it take to do a master's degree?
6 years.
Well, it's according to what you're doing.
How
long does it take?
4 to 6 years.
4 to 6 years. Usually, the normal master's degree, if you're going to do a master's in counseling, it can take 12 months. That's a real bare bones thing. But if you're going to do a clinical one, clinical counseling, that's 90 hours. A clinical degree can take you up to 90 hours. So, and that's not, see, they're all different. This just happened to be this one I'm looking at. It's 90 hours. So that can take you 3-4 years. Finish it. I'm about to be 72, so that means if I do that, I'll be 76, 77 when I finish.
But how old will you
You
be?
ain't got
How old
long.
will you be if you know?
How old will I look? I see, that's a good, this is one of the reasons I went back to school to get my doctorate degree, because I was talking to my major professor when I was doing my master's degree and finishing up with that. He said, "You're going to roll over and go on into the doctorate degree, aren't you?" I said, "No, sir." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Well, I'll be this age when I'm finished with it." He said, "Well, how old will you be if you do?" I said, "Okay, I got you. Yeah, that's right. How old are you going to be if you don't do it?"
My question is, you was in the service, right? How many years did you do in the service?
I was 5 years in the service.
So your college is just about
Yeah, about the same thing.
taking care of it
What?
to a certain extent.
Yeah, same thing.
I gotta use
You got to use the bathroom?
it.
You can't wait for 5 minutes?
I got a lot of water.
Drank a lot of water?
A lot of juice. Some of us
So
have.
we'll just shut down the group and we'll wait on you to go to the bathroom.
Thanks.
So everybody wait.
I'll be back.
You take time. We're all just gonna wait on you. When we take a break, go to the bathroom. It'll be a good thing to go to the bathroom first and then go outside and suck sulfur. Right? Yeah.
One of the things I've always learned is that the day that I start learning,
Yeah.
I stop living.
And see, that's the thing. What he said was, the day I stop learning, stop living. As we get older, our brains, get a little bit sluggish and stuff like that. This is one of the reasons I'm looking at doing another degree, is so that I can keep my mental gymnastics where I want them to be.
I've learned that, I've heard that people with longevity are always in school,
Yeah.
always doing something.
Always doing something. So all of these things, look, I need to look, I want to make sure that I get some self-care, and we're going to be talking about self-care in just a little bit, but I want to make sure that I have some self-care in my health. So that means I need to have some fun. What do you do for fun? Basketball. Fish. I used to do a little bit of fishing back in the day, but I don't fish anymore. There's always the possibility that you'll catch something. And then you got to clean it, and you got, all of this kind of stuff. I don't want to do that. Make sure that we've got the right type of transportation. Make sure that we've got the right type of this, that, and the other. Make sure that whatever my goal is, it's not going to mess up my family. There's a couple of things I want to go over real quickly, because we've only got about 5 more minutes in this group, in this portion of group, and I really want to do this other thing. So it says, look, we need to prioritize it. We're looking at a whole bunch of stuff, and like you said earlier, you got to have small goals headed to that big goal. So prioritize it. What is the main thing that you have to do first? We're headed here, but I got to do something. We need to decide which category you want to concentrate on, or decide which specific item you want to work on, and then get started on that one that's headed in that direction, right? Prioritize what we're going to do. We need to know what we're planning, or we can't plan it, right? All right, we need to envision it. Just choose one. Close your eyes down. Close your eyes and think about that one thing. What's it going to be like when I get this? Also, what's it going to do? What's it going to look like as I'm working toward that? There's a lot of things that we may have to do. And then here's one other thing. This is important. When we start thinking about our goals and we start writing them down and say, this is my goals. Anybody here have a bucket list? Yeah, I got a bucket list. And it wants to see one of my bucket lists was to visit every state in the United States before I die. I've been to 20 of them now. I haven't been to all of them. I've been to probably 10 different countries. I lived in Germany for 3 years. That was interesting. A lot of good food in Germany. I went to England and Scotland. Ain't no good food in England or Scotland. They have what they call, I ain't gonna tell you what they
I was putting on what you said. Vision. That's where you come up with your vision.
Yeah, yeah. You make a vision board, come up with what you need to do. But in Germany, I mean, in England, they got a thing called spotted something or other. Y'all look that up. That's some nasty stuff. I went to. They have a great big old store over there called Tesco. It's like our Walmart here. And in Tesco's, they have a, something where you can get something to eat. And so, yeah. And so I went in there and I got a bowl of soup, and it tasted like dishwater or something. It's really, really bad food. It's just not good. I guess it's what you get accustomed to. So, as we look, we need to be impressing ourselves. You may not be able to impress anybody else, but you need to impress yourself. Avoid words like will, won't, don't, going to, will be. So this is where we need to practice mindfulness. We need to keep ourselves in the present tense. It always must be about us, right? Use your name. Use the word now. Look, here's the thing. I am. This is who I am. This is what I am. I'm a college graduate. I have this kind of stuff in there. I'm traveling the world. I'm doing what I decide I want to do, right? When we get, what does that do? It gets into your brain and it convinces you that you are what you want to be, right? All right, we're getting down to where we're going to have to take a break, and I'm going to go see if I can find our protective thing, and we will see you in about 15 minutes after.
15 minutes after?
Yeah.
Before y'all run off, please, thank you for the logistic here this way. The room checks, bedroom 6 looks pretty good.
Thank you.
Just, need these to trash out.
All right, I'll take care of it.
Alright, and 5, they're not in here. Where we at? 4, y'all just let some more fall in the shower, somebody did. It just, everything looked good, your services aren't just deep like the pop meters. Other than that, everything looked good. 3 needs, the toilet needs to be cleaned. There's some shoes in the bathroom. And the bathroom is a little dirty. And let's have a wash that shower. We'll help each other remember. Your shower? Yeah, the shower. Together, let's get it done. But 2, maybe the floor just needs to be swept, but other than that, everything else looks good. Y'all just stay on top of it like y'all do, and we'll be all good.
So, that's why open mess.
That's not, hey, it ain't no big deal. It ain't
So, two look at it, I can read it.
I tried it.
Where is, what happened to Mr. Bale? Where's he at?
Just sitting back,
I need about $200 by the store. And I need for about $200. I can pay $40.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab the
You got it. You got it. I got it too. Come on, partner. Good. That's how I like it around
That mirror was fine. There you go.
Well, this says.
Doing all that. You know, a bunch of clothes. That's all right there. So, good. Up to it.
I'm right here, darling. I didn't leave you.
Popping out scared. Don't scare me.
Bert, where's Bert? Well, Bert back. Get it. Shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. And then. You need one? Yeah.
Proceed, sir.
Thank you. You know, Robert? Call that Crystal. Call that Crystal. I mean Crystal. I like it. He probably does. You did? Whatever you do. That's nice. I heard it. That you're elected. This is a marker. The color. How's the shading, all that marker? This is
Just pull up. Stay right there, Paul. You all right? All right.
You alright? Yeah, you're alright. Yeah.
Huh? I have no idea. She just takes them somewhere, I guess.
I'll take it through what?
No, just that's all good.
So, all right, it is group time. What is necessary for group? Attendance. We need to have people to have group. Well, I was able to get my protective factor thing. And so we'll be going over the protective factors. As we're going over the protective factors, you have a little worksheet there in front of you. And you can fill out that protective factor worksheet as we're going over it. We're going to explain it as we go and all of that kind of stuff so you can put what you need to on there. So, and again, I know that over at North you can't see this very well, but this is a magnificent painting. This is a young person out in the woods again. And what's this on this person's head?
A beehive.
A beehive, the man said. That's not right. That's not correct. That's not it.
A helmet cap.
A what?
Sweater cap.
A cap?
Yeah, sweater cap.
A sweat cap? No, it's not.
No, not sweat. Sweater.
A sweater cap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a knitted toboggan.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a toboggan thing. No, that's not it. I thought I did such a good job with that.
The bandages?
Bandages.
Uh,
Yeah, this guy's whole head is bandaged up here, and it looks just like the medical bandages that you would find at the medical place, like the hospital. And it's why nobody knew what it was. Took everybody in here collaborating to figure out, does he look happy?
no.
Doesn't look happy. Why do you think?
Because he has bandages on his
Because he got bandages on his head. Y'all ever watch the television and stuff where they'll have a guy with a bandage on his head or somewhere else and there's always blood coming through it? That's a poor job of bandaging him. I've had a lot of bandages, no blood ever came through the bandage. Never happened. But on TV, every bandage got blood coming out of it. So that's in bad shape. So what he's doing, look here, is a little bit of what? Self-care. Self-care. He's kind of taking care of himself. So he's doing some self-care. But what's the deeper message?
He is not happy.
He is not happy. But the thing is, had he done self-care, had he practiced self-care before all of this happened, he probably wouldn't be wearing the bandages, right? So, where's the rest of our group?
The thing was
Okay. That's more important than group. I understand. More important than group. So here's the protective factors we're going to be talking about. Some of these things here, if he'd have done these things in the right way, then he wouldn't be in that situation. Now, these things pertain to our mental health. Protective factors are things that contribute to mental health. They allow a person to be resilient. What does resilient mean?
can bounce back.
Can bounce back. Able to deal with it. Can take it. All of those good things. So we're resilient in the face of challenges. Do we have challenges?
Yes, sir.
On a daily basis. We have some, what? What kind of challenges you think we have in here?
Oh, in here.
Yeah.
Attendance.
What?
Attendance.
Attendance. We have a challenge with attendance. Yeah, getting the garbage out is more important than group. So, having attendance, and sometimes that's a challenge. There are personal challenges. Some of us are feeling a certain way. Some of us feel bad. Some of us, our health is not where it ought to be. So that's a personal challenge that I have to deal with. I have to deal with this thing today. When I talk to God about going one day at a time, I'm working through the challenge that I have with my own health, right? And so we have challenges like that. We have personality challenges in here. You believe that's true?
Yes.
There are people in here that have some challenges with other personalities. Are there personalities that just make you cringe? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's personalities that sometimes just, you don't think you're ever going to be. That's a challenge. You don't think you're going to, some of the things we want to do because we have arrested identity development. Y'all remember what that is? What is it? Arrested identity development.
Your identity is kind of limbo.
Yeah, it's kind of, you're not developed well. You're at a place where your identity is still usually at the level that you started using drugs or alcohol, or you had some other type of big traumatic event happen in your life. And so what does that do? How tall are you? 6'1". How much you weigh? All right, 6'1", and you weigh 215 pounds. So if you have arrested identity development and you started using drugs when, how old were you? 14 years old. So that means that you're a 14-year-old in a 6'1", 250-pound body. So you're still working at that 14-year-old level. Some of us are working at much less than that, 12, 11, 10 years old, whenever we first started using. So we have that arrested identity development. My maturity level has stopped at that level. And if my maturity level, look, I'm still acting like I'm a 12-year-old. I'm still acting like I'm an 11-year-old. But I'm 6'1", 6'2", and I weigh 200, 300 pounds. That makes me what? Makes me a big kid. Also makes me dangerous. Because, you know, a 12-year-old, if they get all bowed up and get all that stuff, they can hurt you, right? That same 12-year-old, if he's 6'1" and he weighs 250 pounds, and he's learned down through his lifetime how to fight, he's really dangerous now, right? So we need to get beyond that. All right. So we're going to be facing some challenges. What's going to keep us from facing any more challenges? Death. Death. You know, as you get older, you guys are all just children in here. But as you get older, you will notice that you have more and more challenges. Sometimes it's a challenge for my wife just to get up. She has some issues where now, from time to time, she'll fall. And getting up is almost impossible. It's a hard thing. Hard thing for her. So here's the deal. We need to be resilient so we can deal with these things, because the most important thing right here, right now, is our recovery. What somebody says should not affect my recovery. What somebody else does should not affect my recovery. Not my recovery efforts. What somebody else is. Had somebody this morning tell me what somebody was. First off, I don't know you well enough to tell you what you is. Secondly, whatever you are is not going to affect my recovery. I am not going to go home tonight and have a beer because you didn't pay attention in group. That ain't going to happen. That's not going to happen. And when I go in here and do my notes, I'm going to put in that note, this person didn't pay attention in group. This person disrupted group. This person walked out of group. This person went and unloaded the truck. You know, this person didn't come back to group after break. But then once I get it noted, I'm not going to fool with it. That's done. No, it's going to go up. If somebody else wants to fool with it, they can do that. Usually to Miss Rebecca, she wants to come drag somebody out. She will. Yeah, you know. But someone with a lot of protective factors, this is important, such as strong relationships and healthy coping skills, are going to be better equipped to overcome life's obstacles. I'm going to tell you something that's really sad, something that's really sometimes frustrating and aggravating. There are a lot of things out there trying to get your recovery. There's a ton of stuff, and it's called collectively life. Life is trying to kick you down and take your recovery. Some of us in here are not even in recovery. Most of us are not in recovery. We're in sobriety. What's the difference?
Sobriety, you're forced.
Sobriety, I'm sober. But any alcoholic, drunk, addict can get into sobriety for a minute, right? I get into sobriety and I can stay sober for a week. And is that a good thing? Yeah, it's a good thing. If I'm a cold stone alcoholic and I can stay sober for a week, that's a good thing. Why is it a good thing? Usually, if I can stay sober for a week, I can tell myself I can stay sober for a month. If I can stay off sugar today, and if I can stay off sugar the rest of the week, I probably can do that 2 weeks. Probably can do it. Because it's all about convincing who? Convincing me. And I'm going to tell you, I do not care if you come up and have Mr. Trahan comes up and say, look, I got this donut. I found this donut over there, and this donut on the top of this donut says sugar free. And then on the bottom of this donut, it says Dr. Clark. So it's just obvious that you're supposed to eat this donut. And him, if you don't eat this donut, I'm going to whip your butt. There's a lot of incentives for me to eat that donut, right? But what am I going to do? I ain't eating that donut. I'm gonna go up to that youngster. I'm not gonna eat that. I will not allow the world. I will not allow someone else to take my sobriety. Right? I'm gonna let somebody else decide for me what my life's gonna be like. Get hold of that. Yeah, I'm not gonna let you decide for me what my life's gonna be about. Right? I have some protective factors that I'm going to put in play. And so here's some of them. Many protective factors are out of my control. For example, your genetics. How many people here are children of alcoholics? Yeah, or addicts. Your mama, your daddy did all of that kind of stuff. Look. It may be in your genetic makeup to be an alcoholic. Does that mean you're absolutely going to be an alcoholic or an addict? No, but it means the likelihood of it is about 1,000 times more. If you start drinking just because your parents used, then you have a much better chance of becoming what they were. Especially since they showed it to you, displayed it to you, and shows you that it's the normal thing to do. So now we're going to be that. So genetics, the neighborhood where you grew up. We were talking to the young man here about, when we get out of here, going right back to the same place. One of the worst things I've ever seen about the prison system, they make you go right back to the same place you got out of. If you fell out of Chambers County, Bubba, you're going back to Chambers. I think that's the worst thing in the world. You fall out of Chambers County, they ought to send you back to Fred County. Way up the road. Yeah. The problem is the counties don't want you. Now, if you're robbing, stealing, killing, well, you go back to your own county to rob, steal, and kill. And what happened? You go back to the same county around the same people doing the same things at the same place, and you rob, steal, and kill. If maybe they would give you a little bit of a geographical escape, it might help. Right? But we're going back in that same place, so we need to have some protective things in place. There's somebody there that's going to hurt it, we need to get them out of it. We can't always. I had no choice about the neighborhood I grew up in, did you? That was my daddy and my mama. I grew up in Meridian, Mississippi. I had no choice in that. I was born at Maddie Hersey Hospital. No choice in that. So we can't help that. Family, you can't change your family. I've had people tell me, you are not part of his family anymore. Is that true? No. I still got that same blood running through my veins. You may not like me, you may not want me, but the sad fact of the matter is I'm still your cousin. I'm still your brother. I'm still your daddy. I'm still, all of that. So, but you can't change who those people are. Many of our factors can be controlled. We can control a lot of those factors. You choose the people in your life. You hear that? We can control them. You choose the people in your life. The police don't come down and say, hey, you've got to be over there with old Bubba there, or you've got to be over there with Bubette. We make that choice. Right? We do that. So when we say don't go back to old people, I've had people tell me, well, there's just nothing I can do about that. That's my mom. I want you to understand I'm not saying anything about anybody's mother. I don't know your mom. Right? But I do know mothers, and some of those mothers are crack addicts. And if yours is one like that, you don't need to be back around that person. Right? So going back to old people, places, and things, that's a choice we make. And if you make the choice to go back to that person who's actively using, you don't have a snowball's chance in Phoenix of staying in your recovery. Just don't. Will relax. Yes.
There was a gentleman here, there was a guy here. He was in turmoil because he wanted to stay clean. He got out, but one of the family rituals they all got out together, and he was torn because we were talking, and he was like, on one hand he didn't want to do it, but on the other hand that's kind of like a family. You know, he'd be missing out on
it's a tradition.
Yeah. He was really torn up.
Yeah, and it's hard. And a lot of times we need to make, and we have to make, the decision whether or not I want to be a part of that family unit or I want to stay sober. And if I want to stay in my recovery, I may have to let that family unit go. What do you do if you have to let the family unit go? You just do. And then you go and start your own family unit, which is what we're supposed to be doing anyway. We can love our moms, love our dads, love our kids, love our brothers and sisters and stuff, but we can love them at a distance. Let them stay there. So, yeah. That doesn't mean we may never see them again. Sometimes we'll never see. I showed y'all earlier. There's 4 of my sisters I haven't seen in all of those years. But I'm still in recovery. But they wouldn't hurt my recovery. I don't know if they drink or not, but or use or not. But I don't think they do. They're nice young ladies, as far as I know. But a lot of them can. You choose the people in your life. You choose how to cope with your problem. Get that? We come up with our own coping skill. One of those coping skills that we use when we're out there in our addiction is what? Whatever we were using. Our drug was our coping skill. Now we need to come up with new coping skills to deal with problems. Used to, if I couldn't pay the rent, I just drank a little bit, and guess what? Still couldn't pay the rent, but it didn't matter. Still couldn't pay, but it didn't make much difference because I don't care anymore. As long as I'm using, I'm fine. So, and you decide how you're going to spend every day. One of the things that I cannot do going forward is stop by the dollar store. I just can't go to the dollar store. Especially this one over here. I discovered that dollar store. Where is it? Right over there. I discovered that dollar store. It's right over there by the gym. What a horrible place to put the dollar store. The gym's right there. You go, you work out and everything, and you go right next door to the dollar store and buy garbage, to put in your body. But one of the things I discovered about that dollar store, which is crazy, they have all kinds of cookies and candies and everything. They're all $1.25. That same box of cookies at the market basket's $5. In there, and I will tell you, I bought some moon pies. And the moon pies, moon pies about that big around. Moon pie about that thick. Those moon pies about that big around. Yeah, look like a silver dollar or something. Yeah, there's about 10 of them, 12 of them. And it's for $1.25. So that's really cheap. I can go in there with just change and buy the poison that's going to kill me for the day. So every day we have a choice what we're going to do that day. So my choice is today I'm not going by the dollar store. I'm not going by Dairy Queen. I'm not going to go by there. Not going to do any of those kinds of things. When I leave from here, I'm going to church, and then from church to the house. I'm not going to do those things just for today. Tomorrow is another deal, but I'm going to wake up with the same idea. So by focusing on what we can control and building upon those protective factors, you will improve your ability to cope with a lot of life's challenges as they come along. So you have your paper there. One of the things we're going to review all of the protective factors, and then we're going to decide how they work with us. Now, one of the protective factors we have is social support. What is social support?
Like your friends and
Yeah.
The social.
Yeah, your sober support system. That means friends who don't use or drink. That also means maybe your AA group or your NA group. Maybe your sponsor, right? Maybe some of your family members who still love you, still care about you, and don't use. You want to hang around a social user, somebody just uses socially. Is it okay for people to use socially? It is for them. If they don't have a problem with alcohol and drugs, and they're just having a beer every now and then, or having a glass of wine with their meal every now and then, they just socially drink. That's fine with them. Not fine for me. I can't do that. So if somebody else is socially drinking, I'm not going to be around them. Yeah. But that's just me. I go to extremes to protect my recovery. If you drink, I don't hang around with you. So some of the things that we can do when we have that is we have an ability to talk to somebody. We need to be communicative. What does that mean? I need to be able to talk to somebody. We don't live on an island. I need to be able to talk to someone. And I want to talk to someone who's sober. I want to talk to someone perhaps who knows what I'm going through. And I want to talk to my sponsor. And one of the questions I'm going to ask him is, look, this is going on in my life. Have you ever experienced this? And if so, what'd you do? How did you deal with it? Because if somebody already knows how to deal with it, what does that mean? That means they can tell me how to do it without me having to reinvent the wheel. I don't have to build it from the ground up. He's already got a pretty good foundation we can work on. We need people to ask for practical help. What's practical help?
Guidance, information.
Say it again.
Guidance.
Guidance, information. A ride if my car's broken down. If I need a ride to work, sometimes I need a ride to work. Sometimes I need a ride to a meeting. We also, in social support, we have feelings of love, intimacy, or friendship. You with us?
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah.
See, you're tearing the paper up in little bitty, itty bitty pieces.
Yeah, that's in case somebody want to go back and get it and try to tape it up together and see what I wrote. But I have hell doing it.
I bet they will. I want to share this one little thing with you. I'm never going to, I don't worry about what you write. So I'm never going to try to type your stuff down. That takes 3 rolls of tape, man, 4 days to do that. But we need to have somebody that we can feel that they love us and we love them, because remember, Maslow said we need love and belonging, so we need that. We need to be intimate. What does intimacy mean? What does it mean? Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean sex. It means that I can sit with you on the couch and tell you stuff I'm not going to tell anybody else. Yes. Personal, deep, personal stuff. Yeah. What I can tell you what my boss said today. I can tell you what happened in group today. I can do this. I can get and just have a close, deep, personal relationship with. We need to have that. You know, as human beings, we're emotionally people, and we need to have that. So, and friendship. We need to have 2 to 3 close friends. I have 2 to 3 close friends, but I will tell you, my friends are a long way off. That may be why we're friends. I have a friend, one of my friends lives in Kerrville. A good friend of mine. I can go to his house right now. If he's at home, that's great. If he's not home, I go on in his house, make me some coffee, get me something to eat. He's got a room back over here in the back, and his main bedroom's over here in his house. Got another bedroom back over here in his house, and a bathroom and all of that. I just go to bed if I want to. He can do the same thing in my house. If I come in, there's somebody in my house, I'm looking. If I figure out it's Charlie, I'm all right. Yeah, he's pastor of Family Life Center Church in Kerrville. And so, we have that kind of friendship. And there's some other people. I came in, I have a fellow named Scott. If I came in and found him on my couch, it'd be okay. And we need to have friends like that. So, one of the other things, so you need to put on that thing where social support is. What do you think you are on that? And then one of the other things we have to have is some coping skills, and I'm hoping we're building some coping skills in here. Some people have very good coping skills in here, don't we? I see people with really, really, really good coping skills. I see other people need to work on their coping skills, right? How many people know that getting to a place where I'm going to tell you something, or getting to the place where I'm going to bow up at you, that's not a good coping skill. If that's the coping skill we're using, you need to stop that right now. If you want to get out of the program and go out there and use that coping skill, be my guest. But in here, we can't do that. We need to have a better coping skill than physical altercation. Right? Think about that. If you're one of those that want to have physical, come see me. We're not going to have a physical altercation. But you come see me and I'll tell you a few things you really need to know. So ability to manage uncomfortable emotions in a healthy way. You get a hold of that? I did not say that these emotions that we have are comfortable. Sometimes these emotions are very uncomfortable. Right? When I get my feelings hurt, and y'all seen me get my feelings hurt, right? Some of the time, people do stuff in the group that can hurt my feelings. You think that's comfortable? Think that feels good? Of course not. But do you have to deal with that? Yeah. See, I have a choice in that. I can deal with that in an adult type of way, or I can deal with it with that arrested identity developed part of me that's about 8 years old and lose my job, maybe go to jail, all of that kind of stuff. So I need to be able to look at the situation and then recognize what? Either which way I go, there's going to be consequences, right? Either which way I go, there's going to be consequences. If I decide that, hey, I'm going to bow up and I'm going to punch you in your head, there's going to be consequences. Something's going to happen. Hey, somebody's going to get their butt whipped, somebody's going to jail. Everybody's out to treatment. So there's consequences. So I need to have a better coping skill than that. Everybody's got that coping skill. Everybody can bow up. So we need to have a better one than that. We need to have the ability to manage uncomfortable emotions in a healthy way. We need to have awareness of our own emotions. See, one of the ways to deal with those uncomfortable emotions is remove myself from the situation. If I know that I'm in like room 5 and there's a butthead in room 5 that's fixing to start some stuff, I'm going to go, and I don't know who lives in room 5, so I'm not accusing anybody. I'm going to go to the day room or something till all of that's over with. But, at some point, the butthead in room 5 is going to have to calm down because I live there too. Right? So, awareness of my own emotions, no. I've had people in here, we do it all the time, who has an anger issue, and people raise their hand. So that means I know I have this issue. So if I know I have this issue, I'm not going to put myself in a place where that's going to cost me something. And we need to recognize how my emotions influence my behavior. So when I hurt your feelings, guess what? I've never had anybody in the group tell me, you hurt my feelings. Never. I have never had anybody say, you hurt. I have had some people tell me, well, you're just stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. I'll whip your. I have had people respond in anger because that's what we are. That's our fail safe. That's our fallback position. When I hurt your feelings, you get your feelings hurt, but you don't respond that way. You respond in anger. So we need to know that. If I have this issue where I get my feelings hurt, or somebody says something I don't like, or somebody takes my piece of pie or something like that, I get all of this up and I get angry about it. So I need to know what I need to know my own. Because if I don't control, listen, if I don't control my emotions, guess what? And I've said this 30 times. Y'all already know what I'm going to say. Somebody else will. You will control your emotions, or somebody else will. And here's the deal. This is a sad fact. I had a guy ask me one time when I said that in group, he said, you going to do it? Yeah, I'll do it. I'm the guy. I'm the one going to control your emotions. If I can't do it, I'll get help. I know some guys. They got guns and badges and they'll come drag you. Yes, I'm going to deal with that. If you need that emotion to be dealt with, I'm the one. Come see me. So we need to be able to do that. We need to be working on our physical health. This is a real protective factor. People who feel good, people who are in good shape, people who eat right, sleep right, and exercise, stay in recovery, keep their emotions in check, 10 times better than someone who's way overweight, out of shape, don't do any kind of exercise, only sleeps a couple hours a night, and eats all of these stupid, what are they called? Pop-Tart that we have in here. Yeah, so people eat all of that kind of stuff. We need to be working on our own health. Adequate exercise, physical activity. We need to be doing that. If you can't get out there and work out like some of these guys do, walk around a little bit. Walk around. Don't do like we were talking the other day with this fella that used to sit over here. Don't walk down to the end of the street. That's not allowed. Can't go down to the end of the parking lot down there because there's all sorts of stuff out there we don't want to get messed up in. So get some type of physical activity. Walk around, move around, do something. A balanced and healthy diet. Now, I do know we have to eat what we have here, right? We need to do the best we can with what we have. We have to eat. And this is what's given. Look, the cook that we have here, he's not a cook, he's a chef. That man can cook. And he's doing a heck of a job with what they give him, right? He doesn't have any choice in that. They bring some stuff in here, and he does a heck of a job with that. And the lady over at North, same way. She showed me some stuff, man. I'm going, oh my God, that's fantastic. Some of that stuff is great. There's a lot of the times we just have sandwiches. So we still have to eat a little bit. So eat the best you can with where you are. Medical compliance. Look, I'm in medical compliance. At night, I take enough pills. If they give me one of them that says take with food, I'm not going to be able to take it because there ain't no room left. I take a whole handful at night and a handful in the morning. So take those as prescribed. Do what you're supposed to do. It's going to help you. And then a sense of purpose. That's a really good protective factor. A sense of purpose. Knowing that, look, my life means something. Your life means something. There's people out there that care about you. And your life means something. And if you were not here, if something happened to you, it would leave a void in their life. So you need to understand that. So if we don't have a sense of purpose, we need to do something that would give us a sense of purpose. One of the greatest ways to do that, meaningful involvement in some type of work. Can you get a sense of purpose being a welder? Oh, heck yeah. I talk about welding all the time because I happen to know that welding is an art. It's an art. And your sense of purpose in welding is just to be better at it and to do the best job I can for the person I'm working for. Who's the first person you're working for? You are. Yeah, you are. So, education, back to school, do something. And look, how many people know that education, going back and getting a degree or something like that, can give you a real good sense of purpose, but that's expensive. They've almost gotten to the place now where you've got to be a millionaire before you can go to college. But there's Allison, and I've told y'all about Allison a couple of times. Allison's free. Look it up online. You can go to all sorts of things. Right now, I'm going through a course on mindfulness, and it's under a deal psychology, and it's mindfulness in psychology. And there's a diploma at the end of that, and it's really involved in all of that kind of stuff. It's like on the master's level. But it's good, and it's free, and at the end of it, I'm probably going to get the diploma for that. But I've just gotten that started, and it takes a little while to get that done. But you can get in there and get some growth in that. Meaningful involvement in education, work, or other roles like parenting. Can you find some meaning in parenting? I've got a bunch of kids. I want to raise some good kids, right? I want to have kids that do the next right thing. I do not want my children to do the things that I did. Now, well, I was going to tell y'all that. I don't think I ought to. If you kill somebody, their face stays with you. It's not always there, but at any given moment, it can be. And there they are. There they are. You go to bed at night, and there they are. And I think that's only right. I take their life, they stick with me for my life. So, understanding of personal values. I need to know what my values are. How many people know that we all have values? I have a lot of values. Some of them I do not do well. One of my values is honesty. I'm in my recovery, and one of the first things we have to have in our recovery is honesty, right? I need to be honest. I still lie. Now, that's a value of mine, is being honest. If I can't get honest, then it causes me to have a little bit of an issue with my own personal recovery. But I still find myself lying. And I know when I lie. Used to, I could lie and not even know it. Now I know it. So, understanding personal values, living in accordance with those values. So, if I have this thing, one of my values is honesty. So, what do I have to do to live in accordance with those values?
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. That's pretty simple. Tell the truth. Earlier in the group, I alluded to the fact that I had a little over $3 million in the bank. That was a lie. I hope y'all know that. No, I don't. No, that's a lie. If I'd had all that money, I would have paid cash for that girl's truck, right? I am paying cash, but on a monthly basis for 7 years. So no, I don't have that kind of money anymore. All right, now here's the next thing. We got to go quickly. We've got 5 minutes. I need to work on my own self-esteem. I need to have high self-esteem. Now, some of us, and I've had people tell me, I don't have anything to have high self-esteem over. Yes, you do. You made the decision to get out of your addiction. Change your life. Turn things around. Believe that one's self has value. Acceptance of personal flaws, because even though you have values, you still have flaws, weaknesses, and you're going to make mistakes. So believe in ability to overcome your challenge. Then the last thing is healthy thinking. healthy thinking. Yeah, you stink pretty healthy. Does not ruminate on mistakes. What does ruminate mean? Constantly rethinking it, constantly going over it. So don't be thinking about the mistakes, personal flaws, or problems. We've all done it. We've all got them. The ability to consider personal strength and weaknesses rationally. I have some personal weaknesses. I do. So do you. We also all have some personal strengths. One of my personal strengths, I will commit to something. And when I commit to something, I'm committed. I do have some resilience. If my boss yells at me and stuff like that, I don't pack my ditty bag. I go back to my office, and after I cry a little bit and all that kind of stuff, I try to fix whatever she's yelling at me about. So I do have some of those. Those are some. I have some weaknesses. Probably have more weaknesses than strengths, but I'm working on turning those weaknesses into strengths. This is a real talent. If you will look at whatever weakness you have, and then think about how can I turn that weakness into a strength. I'm not the best at computer. I had to do some homework, and I filled it all out, and I got it all done this morning, and then I saved it, and I lost hours worth of work. Okay. I still got an idea of here that it's there somewhere. And I'm gonna work on finding that. That's one of my weaknesses, and I understood that was one of my weaknesses. So what am I doing? I'm letting Allison teach me for free about how to get. And I've done some basic things, and I'm learning. I know more about it now than I did earlier. But I asked Miss Charnel to come and meet with me for 10 minutes if she could after group and stuff. She said, "Oh yes, she don't know why she's coming, but I'm hoping she can help me find that." So that's another one of my strengths. I'm not afraid to say, "Hey, I need some help here." My boss knows I come look around the corner at her and she'll smile at me. She knows I'm coming for help. I'm coming, and not just because I like you. I do. I like her. She's sweet, nice, kind, good, and sweet. But I also need to know how to work on this computeration machine, right? And so she'll help me do that. So we need to be willing to look at that weakness, and if I need to, go ask somebody, "Hey, how do I fix this?"
That's the first time I've ever heard that term.
Well, that's what it is. So, all right, questions, comments, or snide remarks? Now, did everybody fill out their paperwork?
Sure.
All right. Now, what are you going to do with that?
Keep it in our book of knowledge.
Keep it in your book of knowledge. Keep it so you can look at it from time to time, but it's yours. I don't need it, but that's helped us move in a different direction. So tomorrow we'll be doing something a little bit different, but it's